Good morning and welcome to another reading of the book Quantum Life by Saint Germain, channeled by Barbara Volkman. Today we're reading chapter 3, the materialist view versus the quantum universal view. So with no further ado, Chapter 3, the materialist view versus the quantum view. Beloveds, today I would like to introduce you to the differences between the visions of reality that surround you, so that you can recognize illusionary points that you may still be in. First, the materialist paradigm, which is the vision adopted by the majority of humanity, still, at the present time. For this perception, everything that exists and can manifest happens within the material possibilities that are within the person's reach, disregarding any other option that the egoic and limited mind cannot visualize as possible, and they are infinite. Within materialism, the person is purely identified with the body and the mind, believing that they are only this perishable material clothing that surrounds them and the unconscious and uncontrolled flow of thoughts that torment them. Allied to this is the belief that the end of the physical body, which people call death, is the final line of existence before eternal rest, or any other belief that involves what happens after death. And within this vision, some materialists believe in God without really recognizing the greatness of his being, just because they were inserted into this belief system at some point in the past. Some believe only in Jesus Christ, because since he incarnated on earth, he was a material being too, making it easier to conceive of the idea of a great spiritual leader. Do you see the incoherence? They believe the world is purely material but seek guidance in a spiritual leader. And those who don't believe in any of them, only in science. The question here, dear friends, is to understand the root of this materialistic belief. Many say that they only believe in science, but when we enter this field of studies and tests, we also need to understand that they are conducted by other incarnate human beings who can influence the creation of what is being studied through their thoughts. If the scientist studying subtle elements such as quantum mechanics thinks that it won't work, he already has the answer before he even conducts the test, because he has already designed it through his thoughts. It's also important to remember that in the 1930s, at a large physics meeting and debate, it was decided that the field of study of physics would be limited to the understanding of phenomena, without going into the atomic concepts that govern the entire universe, so that anyone who focused on the study of the soul, the divine spark, thought and universal multidimensionality would automatically be branded as outcasts, crazy and unreliable. This further reinforced the materialist belief structure, which now had the backing of physics and science to be credible. The main problem with the materialist view is that individuals consider that they have no responsibility for anything in their lives, becoming victims of situations, hostages to an unconscious destiny, and even worse, perpetuating karmas and negative patterns for yet another attempt at incarnation. They allow the mind and the belief systems they are closely identified with and dependent on to limit the infinite potential for creation and manifestation that the universe has for them. and from there they create their realities and project their lives based on the limitations and ideas, usually negative, of the mind. And they feel like victims, complain, suffer, and perpetuate the pattern of materialistic and irresponsible unconscious once again. If you want to get out of this wheel of misery that only strengthens suffering and limits your possibilities, the first step is to open up space within yourself to receive new information different from what you faithfully believe and were raised with, and try not to react and automatically block what has been transmitted to you, no matter how much this information may generate discomfort or conflict with your inner beliefs. The work is to welcome in order to expand. There is absolutely nothing wrong with expanding your knowledge within the more subtle and sacred fields of existence. On the contrary, it will only bring you more clarity and awareness about the workings of the universe, deepen your connection with God, and make you feel more and more part of the whole. But for the materialist view, conditioned to the idea of science not studying the atomic energy nuances of creation, it only makes sense to expand and study things to promote material success, the cult of the body, economics, politics, etc. Topics such as God, spirit, consciousness, and the divine spark are part of the field of religion, and as many say, religion is not debatable. Yet another barrier created to prevent the expansion of consciousness about oneself and one's potential for creation. Because imagine if people started to realize what divine creators they are and started to manifest everything in their lives through thought, then we would have a decentralization of power and control, and an end to the illusory competition of the mind, and, perhaps most difficult of all, having to let go of their beliefs and realize that they have been unconscious until then. Not to mention the change that would have to be made in the way we educate people, in the mental paradigm structure, in the way society functions. But this explains much of the lack of interest among materialistic scientists in studying the universe from a quantum point of view, limiting themselves only when it suits them. Atomic bombs, war power, technology for new and modern cell phones, TVs, radios. At this point, the study of quantum reality is of interest to them. But of course, this is not the fault of the scientists themselves, but of the entire social structure created by the egoic mind and which wants to perpetuate this system. Because when the individual understands the mechanics of manifestation from unconsciousness, every idea of the egoic mind dissolves. Now, when we get into the perspective of quantum mechanics, of understanding everything that happens as energy waves collapse from consciousness, which creates, together with the universal energy, life changes. When you understand that you are part of the Creator's own energy, with the potential to manifest everything from your divine particle, when placed in phase with the energy of the whole, which vibrates in unconditional love, your thoughts create your reality almost instantaneously. When you allow this information to enter your consciousness, expansion is natural. The development of mind control also becomes very necessary, because at this stage, if you think, it's manifested. Thought of illness, manifested. Thought of debt, manifested. Thought of difficulties, manifested. After hearing this, many of you may even be terrified by the power of thought to create the negative. But it is precisely when you become aware of this reality that you can begin to work on raising awareness of your thoughts, because otherwise you will continue to manifest the negative, as you already do many times. You are just unaware of how so many bad situations can happen in your life. Thought creates its reality when it connects to emotion, whether in a positive or negative form. What will differ is your level of awareness and presence in the moment to perceive the negative patterns and cancel them as soon as they arise. Deeper into the quantum paradigm, if we are divine sparks, that is, we were created from a particle of the Creator Himself, we are divine energy, and as energy which does not end and cannot be destroyed, only transformed, we also understand the cyclical process of evolution that you are currently undergoing. You are not this body, but the energy that gives it life. For the short time that matter is perishable, so that you can learn precisely that you are infinite and co-creators of reality, and then leave this body behind and transform yourselves back into your state of pure energy and consciousness until it is time to repeat this process for new necessary learning. That's why you shouldn't be worried about death or afraid of it, but rather about the way you are leading your lives and expanding your consciousness, because your being is eternal, infinite and conscious. It won't disappear with death, because death doesn't exist. The disengagement from the physical body is just an energetic movement of transition necessary in your process of development and evolution. Many sufferings and fears disappear when you understand this. Once you expand your consciousness, unconditional love, the divine in you, the elevation of your thoughts, everything else regarding material life is natural resolved. Once you are aware of your power of creation and raised in phase with the divine frequency of unconditional love, you create everything you need for a life of expansion and harmony, and you can dedicate yourself to raising the consciousness of others too. Can you see the door of expansion in the light opening in front of you? Everything you want is on the other side, at the level of divine consciousness. All you have to do is access this door and open up to allow this information to expand and bring the change of light into your life. Beloved hearts, I am Saint Germain, and this is the end of chapter 3 of Quantum Life.